Hello, goats. I hope you are having a beautiful day. On this session, we are going to be asking the cards what is the energy that Mercury retrograde is going to bring into our life, because Mercury retrograde is starting on November 7th. And if you like to know what energy it's going to be bringing into your life, and more importantly, if you like to have some tips or some information from the universe so you can navigate through this time in which it usually tends to be very confusing and bring a lot of misunderstandings, then watch this video because we're going to be using tarot to bring the message from the universe to help us navigate through this Mercury retrograde. But before we start, let me introduce myself. I am Sir Helder Amos, the Tarot Goat, and I am a symbolic tarot reader, which means that today I'm going to be reading the symbols and elements that we find in tarot to give you the message that you need to hear. I do not work with any entity, a spirit of anything of the sort, because I believe in synchronicity. So I believe that at the moment that we pull a card tonight, these cards are going to have like all the symbols and elements that need to be interpreted for us to receive guidance and clarity from the universe to help us become the greatest of all time, goats. Because my purpose here and my purpose with this reading is to help you be better, is to help you have the message from the universe so you can um, navigate through this time with grace and, of course, overcome all the obstacles and misunderstanding that Mercury retrograde sometimes bring into our life. Now, with all said, it's my duty to remind you that this reading is for entertainment purposes only, so it should not be taken or considered as facts, not as general judicial, financial, medical advice, because what the card says is never going to be fixed on stone, since you guys have the power to build and create the future that you desire with the actions and decisions that you make. And, well, everything is clarified now. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is starting this November 7th and it's going to go all the way through November 29th. So we're going to have almost a full month of Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury retrograde also is a time in which our communication gets affected by its energy, because Mercury is the planet of communication, is also a planet of transportation. So when it starts going retrograde, usually it brings obstacles and misunderstandings in our communications. Sometimes our car may break during this time, but it's part of its energy. So that's what I wanted to consult the cards, because I want to see what is the message that the cards had for us for this Mercury retrograde. So I crafted a 5-card tarot spread in which the first card is going to represent the energy that this Mercury retrograde will bring into our life. The second card will bring the challenges that we're going to be facing during this Mercury retrograde. The third card is going to be the tips that we need to keep in mind in order for us to navigate during this time. The fourth card, I'm thinking about uh, seeing the opportunities that this Mercury retrograde will bring in our life, because everything, it doesn't have to be all bad. So maybe there's going to be hidden opportunities or hidden blessings during this Mercury retrograde. So we'll see what the card says about it. And the last card will bring a special message collectively about what we need to know for this Mercury retrograde. Now, I'm going to leave this spread on the description of the video for the ones who's watching on YouTube, so you can actually take your cards and do this spread for yourself, so you can receive a more direct message, because today I'm going to be doing a collective message with a collective energy. But if you have, if you know how to read tarot and you want to check, what's the energy of this Mercury retrograde for your life, you're more than welcome to use that spread. Or if you like me to read the cards for you, you can always contact me on my site, tarotgoat.com, and I will gladly, do this reading for you. And now, let's see what is the message that the cards have for this Mercury retrograde of 2024. Luckily, this is the last Mercury retrograde of the year, so we're going to be able to enjoy Christmas and enjoy the holidays without any influence. And also, a good thing to note during this Mercury retrograde is that it's happening when we're going to have Venus in Libra during the whole month. So that, well, in my opinion, I think that is going to help us a lot navigate through this Mercury retrograde, because we will be aligned with our beauty, with our sense of justice, and it's going to help us a little bit the fact that Venus is going to be in Libra during this month. But let's start the reading to see what is the first card and what is the energy of this Mercury retrograde. And the first card for us today, we have the Emperor in a reverse position. And as we can see in the card, we have an old man sitting on his throne. And, he seems very serious, very experienced, and very knowledgeable. So it seems that this Mercury retrograde is going to bring some, uh, let's say, immaturity. It seems that during this Mercury retrograde, we're going to be very stubborn. We're going to be focusing a lot on getting our ways without caring about the possible outcomes of our actions. So it's really important that during this Mercury retrograde, we have a higher perspective of what we want and of the steps that we're taking to accomplish our goals. Because the Emperor in a reverse position represents the abuse of power, and also it can represent being too stubborn and, you know, making things happening without taking into consideration the collateral damage that we may cause for, getting our way. So this Mercury retrograde will, in a way, ignite the fire inside of you and that stubbornness inside of you to uh, get your way. But you have to be very careful, because that could bring obstacles, that could bring problems, that could bring misunderstanding. Sorry, that could bring misunderstandings. And well, that is what Mercury retrograde is about. So we need to be very careful and very mature, because the Emperor is a card that can represent maturity if you use your wisdom and experience, uh, wisely. So have a higher perspective of your life, have a higher perspective of everything that you're going through, and in that way you're going to be able to navigate through this Mercury retrograde uh, smoothly. So that's the first card for us today. Now let's see what are the challenges that this Mercury retrograde will bring. And the second card for us today is the Ten of Swords in inwards position. And as we can see in the card, we have a man that is laying on the floor like dead with 10 swords piercing uh, the man. We have the sun rising, the night is dissipating, and it seems that the main struggle, or the main obstacle that this Mercury retrograde will bring to your life is going to be the ability to leave the past behind. It seems that even when this Mercury retrograde, usually, well, even when the energy surrounding Mercury retrograde represents misunderstandings, miscommunication, and sometimes, let's say, uh, problems when it comes to traveling or car, whatever, it seems that the biggest obstacle is going to leave behind the past. And if we add the energy that Mercury retrograde brings along about a miscommunication, it's possible that you're going to have a hard time leaving behind the misunderstandings and confusion that this Mercury retrograde will bring into your life. So it's really important that you don't take anything personal during this Mercury retrograde, because you are going to have a hard time forgiving and forgetting people from the miscommunication that you're going to have during this time. The best way to avoid that is, being very assertive when it comes to communicating, and understanding that we are going to be in a period of time that could lead to confusion and misunderstandings. If you're aware of that, you can take a huge advantage out of Mercury retrograde. Now, it's also important to notice that the day is starting, the night is dissipating. So another positive things that this Mercury retrograde will bring is not going to be all negative. is that it's going to bring you the opportunities for a new beginning. It's going to give you the opportunity for a new day. But of course, you will have to leave behind the past. So if you actually manage to understand the situations in which you need to leave, feelings or, grudges or negativity behind in order for you to enjoy the new day, enjoy the new opportunities, then you're actually going to have a very good Mercury retrograde because it will help you flip the page. But it's contrasting with the Emperor in a reverse position. And this is the card of being stubborn. So probably that's going to be the biggest challenges because you are going to be uh, wanting to stick to what you want, stick to to your beliefs, to your principles, to whatever that you are pursuing it, and you are going to let's say not wanting to flip the page because you want to pursue what you want. So that's interesting. But now let's see what tips we have for this Mercury retrograde. Let's see what is the message that Tarot has for us. But before we see the third card, let me remind you guys that if you like my content, you can subscribe to my X or $5 a month to help me support my content creation, and you'll receive a quick video every month with the message that the cards had for you. Now, the third card for us today to see what are the tips for this Mercury retrograde, and we have the Magician in a reverse position. As we can see, we have the man standing behind a table that has the four suites of tarot, and well, he's trying to do magic. Now, in a reverse position, this card tells me that during Mercury retrograde, we are going to have all the resources for us to overcome all the situations, overcome all the misunderstanding or miscommunication that we may face. But it's important that we are aware of the resources because we're going to have the resources, but it's possible that we are not going to have the knowledge about to make things happen. Again, the Emperor in a reverse position. I love it because everything is just revolving around the Emperor energy. So we're gonna feel very sure of ourselves and we're gonna be very stubborn. So I think that's the biggest obstacle and the biggest things that we're gonna face during this Mercury retrograde. And well, the tip for you is to look for guidance, is to look for, a teacher or someone who can help you how to understand the resources that you have and how to make magic happen. Because the magician in reverse position, I like to call it the apprentice because he has everything, but he doesn't know how to use it. So in this Mercury retrograde, make sure to identify the resources that you have, to identify the problems or situations that you're going to be facing, and well, find a way to make it work for you. Because well, basically, you're going to have the resources, but you're not going to have the knowledge about how to put the puzzle together or how to make it work. But if you reach out for guidance, if you reach out for um, try to learn how to make things work, you can actually learn because everyone who search eventually finds. So make sure to identify your resources and find a way to make it work because that's the best tip that the tarot has for you for this Mercury retrograde. And that's really important because sometimes the resources doesn't have to be, let's say, literally speaking, but it could be the feelings, the emotions, the memories that we may need in order for us to overcome the misunderstandings or the disagreements that we may have with the people that we love. So if we keep the positive things in our mind, if we keep the good things in our heart, I'm sure those are going to be the resources that you're going to have to not hold grudges and to flip the page when it comes to the words or conversations that in a way hurt you. And it will also could give you the motivation to do things right and to not be so stubborn because I think that is going to be the key topic for us to work during Mercury retrograde. But now, since I don't believe that everything in this world is completely positive or completely negative, let's see the next card to see what are the possible blessings or possible opportunities that this Mercury retrograde will bring into our life. Because I'm sure that there should be something positive in here. We just need to find it. But let's see, because the next card we have the Five of Swords in a reverse position. And this is funny because I'm talking about having something positive and we got one of the most, let's say, bittersweet cards of tarot, because the Five of Swords, as we can see, we have a man that he's looking behind to two men that seems defeated, and he's like smirking and smiling, like he's happy that he defeated the guys that are completely, you know, crushed and devastated. So it seems that the opportunities that this Mercury retrograde will bring into our life is the opportunity for us to win a lot of disagreements, a lot of misunderstandings. Is going to bring the opportunity for you to, let's say, mark your territory, if we can call it like that. But there's always a but. It's really important that you understand the price of winning your battles, of winning your disagreements. Because sometimes when we are always right and when we always, win, we may lose more in our life by being like that than by actually losing a battle every now and then. And that, you know emperor energy again, when we focus too much on winning, 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 and we crush everyone around us in our thirst for winning our battles, then we might actually lose the people that is important to us, because we don't take into consideration their feelings, we don't take into consideration their ego, and we don't take into consideration how uh, you constantly winning the battles will make them feel. And sometimes we lose people, and sometimes we lose special people in your life because of that. So during this Mercury retrograde, have the clarity to identify the battles that you actually need to win, or that you actually want to win, but without hurting others in the process. Because, well, the Five of Swords is a bittersweet card because it represents the price of winning every battle. It represents what you lose when you win every battle. And sometimes you can actually win more when you lose a battle, when you lose a disagreement, when you lose a fight, and then you can actually win the war in the long term. So choose your victories wisely. Choose, when is the right time for you to, be right, and don't hold on to any grudge, or let your ego kill your ego, I will say like that. Kill your ego and don't let you know the disagreements or misunderstandings that this Mercury retrograde will bring into your life bring you down, more importantly bring other people down, because I think that's uh, the price that this Mercury retrograde will bring, sacrificing people in your life for winning a battle, winning a misunderstanding. So that's something to keep in mind. And I like it because everything is just getting, we're having a cohesive reading here. We're gonna be very stubborn, we're gonna have a hard time moving on, and we're gonna need to look for guidance in order for us to be able to use all the resources that we have. And but if you are very stubborn and we win all our battles, we can actually sacrifice the people that we love. So be very careful during this Mercury retrograde. But let's conclude this session with the last card that is going to bring the collective message for this Mercury retrograde. But it's identified that the main, uh, you know, thing, or the main energy that this Mercury retrograde is going to bring into your life is going to be a stubbornness. So if you tackle that energy, if you tackle that feeling, you can actually have like a step ahead of this Mercury retrograde and do things better and become the greatest of all time by being humble, by respecting others, and more importantly, by not letting your ego take control of your life and not, you know, always get your way, because that's very hard sometimes, putting others before you, but not in a way of sacrificing yourself for others, but sacrificing your ego and your pride. that is way harder than sacrificing for others. So that's the challenge that this Mercury retrograde is going to bring. And let's see the special message the cards had for us for this Mercury retrograde. And well, we have the Four of Wands in a reverse position. And it seems that if we actually do things right during this Mercury retrograde, we're going to have a prize waiting for us at the end of it, which is very, let's say, uh, exciting because we don't know what we actually get. But well, as we can see in the card, to explain the symbols of the card really quick here, we have two women that are celebrating, they're raising their hands with flowers on their hands, and we have like a goal. The four ones make like a goal here. So this card tells me that after Mercury retrograde is over, we can actually collect some rewards. We can actually collect some positive things if we actually do things right. So the message that the universe had for you for this Mercury retrograde is to just keep going, to not stop for anything, and more importantly, to be yourself and be humble. Because I think that uh, being humble is going to be what is going to mark the difference between you having a great Mercury retrograde or you know, taking like all the damage from this Mercury retrograde. Because if you're not humble enough, if you are not, um, if you let your ego and your pride take control of your heart and of the situations that we are going to be facing during this month, during this Mercury retrograde, I'm sorry, it could, represent a great sacrifice for you. Well, you could hurt the people that you love in the process. So let's keep that in mind. And I'm going to be sending you a lot of good vibes from here so you can actually navigate through this Mercury retrograde. If you have any questions or doubts about Mercury retrograde, you are free to drop a comment and let me know. I'll get back to you. And well, if you like to have a private session with me and have this spread about Mercury retrograde, you can always reach out to me, or you can use this spread for your own personal use. Drop a comment and let me know how it goes. And well, I'm gonna be sending you the best vibes from here and the my best wishes for this Mercury retrograde. I'm gonna be seeing you next week, and well, I hope you have a great week ahead. Bye bye.